We begin with a fundamental principle. Spirituality is a clock that people use to tell their cultural time of day. It is a compass that a people use to find themselves on the map of human geography. If you do not have your own clock and your own compass, you will forever be lost in someone else's time. You will be a guest in someone else's house, praying to someone else's ancestors, hoping for a salvation that was not designed for you. We are here today to open the book on a system of thought, a system of science, and a system of African survival known as Ifa. Now, before we can teach the truth, we must first clear away the debris of the lie, the error that was made, and the distortion that was taught to you is that the African had no relationship with God until the European arrived. They told you Ifa was merely folk religion. They told you it was primitive. They told you it was fetishistic. They made you ashamed of the kola nut. They made you ashamed of the cowrie shell. They made you fear the sound of the drum. Why did they do this? To control a people, you must first control what they think about themselves and how they regard their history. If you can make a man despise his own father's gods, you have conquered him without firing a single shot. But what they fail to tell you is that long before the European entered the university, long before the Greeks sat at the feet of the Egyptians, the Yoruba people had developed a complete archive of the human experience. Let us look at the structure of this system. When you look at Ifa, you are not looking at superstition, you are looking at a library. The Odu Ifa is a vast unwritten encyclopedia. It contains the history, the medicine, the philosophy, and the mathematics of a nation. Consider the Babalawo, the father of secrets. He is not a magician, he is a scholar. He is a librarian who carries thousands of verses in his head. He is a mathematician who understands the binary code of the universe. When the priest casts the Opon, when he marks the dust, he is using a binary system of ones and twos, open ones and closed twos. I want you to understand this clearly. This binary structure, this system of on and off, is the exact same logic used in modern computer science. The Yoruba people were processing binary data, storing information, and retrieving complex algorithms thousands of years before the invention of the microchip. This is not magic. This is science. It is the organized memory of a people. But Ifa is not just mathematics. It is a system of African ethics. In the West, you are taught that religion is about belief. You believe and you are saved. In Ifa, it is not about what you believe, it is about what you do. It is Iwa Pele, good character. Ifa teaches that your character is your destiny. You can offer all the sacrifices in the world. You can feed the Orisha. You can cast the shells 1,000 times. But if your character is rotten, if you treat your neighbor with contempt, if you cheat, if you steal, then no God can help you. The Orisha do not want your blind obedience. They want your agency. They want your sovereignty. They want you to develop a cool head in a hot world. This is a humanistic system. It places the responsibility for your life squarely in your own hands. Now, let us look at the resilience of this system. When the slave ships came, When the Mahafa began, when the bodies of our ancestors were stolen and scattered across the Atlantic, they tried to strip us of everything. They took our names, they took our languages, they took our clothes, but they could not take the Orisha from our heads. In Cuba, it became Santeria, Lukumi. In Brazil, it became Candomblé. In Haiti, it merged with the Voodoo. In Trinidad, in America, in the favelas and the ghettos, the African took Ifa and he hid it inside the saints of the oppressor. He looked at Saint Barbara, but he saw Shango. He looked at the Virgin Mary, but he saw Yemaya. This was not submission. This was warfare. This was a strategic intelligence operation. Our ancestors preserved the library. They preserved the technology of the spirit. They kept the clock ticking so that one day you, their children, would be able to tell the time again. So I ask you today, as we stand in the 21st century, who manages your spiritual mind? Who defines your relationship to the universe? If your spirituality does not give you sovereignty, if it does not give you power, if it does not link you back to the Nile Valley and the great civilizations of your ancestors, then it is not a religion, it is a prison. We must stop asking permission to be ourselves. We must stop looking for validation from the very people who destroyed our libraries. Ifa is waiting for you. The ancestors are waiting for you, but they cannot help you until you decide to help yourself. It is time to reset the clock. It is time to pick up the compass. It is time to find your own definition. That is the plain and very simple truth.